The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by the UMass 5 College Credit Union, dedicated to creating access to financial well-being for local people, businesses, and communities. Insured by NCUA, umass5.coop.
Welcome to the Fabulous 413. I'm Khalees Smith.
And I'm Monty Belmonte. Later in the show, we'll hit the slopes with our neighbors for a good cause with the United Way of Hampshire and Franklin County's upcoming Ski United event.
And we'll hear the Belmontes' intergenerational fandom sending the Patriots to San Francisco.
But first, and speaking of saints, one of the more universal tenets of any organized belief is community through sound.
And this week at South Church in Amherst, they're encouraging you to come and raise your voice in song with the greater community.
On Friday's show, we didn't have Live Music Friday, but we had Talk About Live Music Friday, and we talked about Bad Bunny, who yesterday at the Grammys went home with Album of the Year, amongst other accolades, and is about to play the Super Bowl this coming Sunday. We talked with the keyboard player and one of the early members of the band Faith No More, but maybe today we're talking about faith as opposed to Faith No More. It's February, and it's cold and dark out there, figuratively and literally, and in these times, South Church in Amherst is offering some spiritual self-care. This Wednesday, February 4th at 5:30, a community supper, followed by a candlelight service with simple chants in the style of the monks from France in Taizé.
It is open to everyone in the community, and the worship is based on a model that has been used in France for decades, attracting thousands of youth every summer from around the world. The music is simple and melodic and brings people peace.
The event is called Calm and Candlelight, and here to talk with us about it and about the history of this style of chants is Reverend Dr. Susan Cartmel, the pastor of South Church in Amherst, and the director of music there, Marilyn Brain, the second person we've had in a week on with the last name Brain, but not spelled in the way that Brain is usually spelled.
We have to bring on somebody with the last name Pinky now.
Oh, Pinky and the Brain. Yes, we love having people with brains on the show. It covers a multitude of our own personal ills. But thank you so much for coming in. This fascinated me when it came across my transom. Let's talk with you first, Reverend Dr. Susan Cartmel. You were the one who reached out about this and said that this seemed like something that you thought would be perfect for the Fabulous 413. Why is this Calm and Candlelight something that's perfect for your congregation?
I think we're all struggling right now with lots of anxiety, worries about our nation, wonders about how this administration's going to affect our lives and affect the lives of people all over the country. Many of us have been riveted by stories from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And though we had this planned, it's occurred to me watching some of the feeds on my social media that what has strengthened clergy and people of faith and everybody on the sidewalk is music. In Minnesota, they are singing for their souls. They are singing for strength, and they are singing to keep their hope alive. They're in the streets, going up and down the sidewalk, singing literally for the people who are locked inside. And I realize that that's a really important way to reset the agenda in this country, is to sing and sing together. And this is music that brings people together across every spectrum, from other nations, from every faith, and no particular organized religion at all. It's a song, the type of singing that will lift your spirits.
It's been interesting for me to observe, and I think a lot of people, to see the Buddhist monks who have been walking across the country in a similar motif, where maybe their particular faith background is not your particular faith background, but it's caused so much joy and hope, and people have joined them along the way. Buddhist monks, of course, are also famous for chanting, and these monks that you will be chanting from Taizé, France. I guess, first off, what flavor church is South Church in Amherst? What's your denomination? I always like to refer to. I love referring to
chocolate. No, we are a United Church of Christ.
Okay, and
what flavor from the Baskin Robbins of Christianity do you find in your cone?
I do personally love that. As somebody who grew up Catholic, but then went to like a Baptist church as a kid, and have seen the gamut of, especially the Christian faith, but has also spent time in the Holy Land and ensconced ensconced in Islam and in Judaism, and spent time in India, ensconced in Buddhism and things like that. So flavor, I feel like, is an appropriate term. So what does that flavor entail?
Progressive Protestant.
Uh-huh.
So we invite and encourage membership from people of all walks and backgrounds, and we have within our pews people who've been there for decades and people who are brand new, who've come from Baptist, Methodist, Episcopal, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
But we are progressive Protestants, and we try to take the Bible seriously, but not literally.
Mm-hmm.
So what inspired you to take the practice of these monks? Because as far as I know, there's no Protestant monks.
I don't think there are Protestant monks.
There are, one of the tenets of becoming a monastery, at least in Christian faith, is that you gotta be Catholic.
Yeah.
Well,
Is
no,
this not? We're getting
actually, no.
We're getting no from the
These-
music director, Marilyn Brain. Marilyn
Yeah.
Brain, tell us more.
Yeah.
Well, Taizé is an ecumenical community in France, and so there are, in fact, Protestant monks in Taizé.
Is Thomas Merton somebody who converted to? I don't remember what his flavor is, but
He's Catholic. I
okay,
think.
yeah, I thought maybe later he was
But-
less Catholic, but yeah, this is
He has
it's
a crossover audience,
Yeah.
but yes.
yeah, for sure. But tell us more about the types of monks that are there in Taizé.
They're men from all around the world with Christian backgrounds mostly, but it's not only open to Christian people. It originally started in 1940, actually, where a lot of Jewish refugees went. They opened it for Jewish people. It was right on the border of France, and that's how it began, actually, that community, that faith community.
What makes them monks? Do they have to take certain orders? Are there certain lifestyles that they must adhere to, or?
They're brothers, and they wear regular monks' cassocks with the hood, the white robes, and they live in the country, and they work to keep farmlands going, and in the summertime invite other people to work on the farm with them. But typically every evening they have huge tents with candlelight, and people come by the hundreds, sit on the ground, and sing together.
So you can have a taste of that this Wednesday at South Church in Amherst for calm and candlelight nourishment for body and soul. And we're talking with the pastor of South Church, the Reverend Dr. Susan Cartmel, as well as the music director there, talking about the chanting, Marilyn Brain.
It's interesting because there are very few faiths on the planet that don't involve music of some form as a point of community. But also, when you think about where music, or at least like written music, starts, it starts in monasteries. So this is an interesting way to kind of come full circle, both in terms of community and in terms of music itself.
We were listening to some of this style of music before we began, and you had some notes, Khalees, from your music background about what the music itself and how it's written says to you.
Well, because the way that music gets written evolves rather slowly. Like you have arch notes at first, which is just like single line music, everybody singing together. When you start hearing more chords or people singing on different notes, you can tell that it's a much later era because we don't get consonant thirds and fifths in sacred music until much later. So you can kind of tell where in time the music comes from depending on how the people are singing together. And I'm looking across at your music book and what I'm seeing from afar, and I can't see like close up, but it reminds me a lot of looking at shape note singing.
Yes, and we'll probably end up talking about that with the legendary Tim Erickson again shortly on the show. There's a big event happening coming up in the next couple months. But talk to us about the music that you brought with you, music director Marilyn Brain.
So most of the music was composed actually by a man named Jacques Berthier, and so it is composed specifically for that community. And you're correct in saying it usually oftentimes starts just with the melody, and then you layer in parts, and it can be as simple or as complex as you choose to do it. But he's written, many possibilities, and so the idea is it's not all planned out when you have a service, but you have your group of musicians, and they sort of weave in and they weave out. You may have all playing at once. You may have only one flute accompanying the singing. You may have only a cappella singing, unaccompanied singing. You can add any number of instruments that you choose to add. But it was most of it was originally composed by him.
And when was it composed?
Well, the community started in 1940.
So relatively recently then.
Yes.
Because it sounds ancient, and some of the examples that you brought are in Latin, as well as French, and as well as English. Talk about the languages that will be chanted.
There are many, many languages. Often English, but French, Latin for sure, Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, so that whoever goes there, you will sing sometimes in multiple languages at the same time, and it's just, I think, people's comfort level. So in my church choir, we do quite a lot of this, and we often do sing in Latin, and sometimes Latin, and then we go to English. Well, we sing in French too, but...
How many languages are going to be sung at the vigil on Wednesday, do you think?
I think just English.
Yeah. The first time.
We'll make it easy for everybody round one.
Start out with English.
After the Bad Bunny Super Bowl, you're going to expect to incorporate Spanish into it.
Spanish.
Yeah, right.
Latin will be a ways away.
We'll work it up.
It's easier to sing than you think.
I bet.
I'm just saying.
We're talking about Calm and Candlelight, which will happen this Wednesday at South Church in Amherst. We're with the Reverend Dr. Susan Cartmel, as well as the music director, Marilyn Brain. Is this the first time that you've done this?
So I'm new to the church, but they've done this many times before. What's new now is that we're doing it every week for 8 weeks. And to see if people like it and if they come. We know people in the church will come, but we're opening it to the whole community to see if it can have that kind of calming impact on a greater circle of people.
What's the difference between chanting and just singing? Or is there a difference?
So these Taizé chants are generally pretty short and very repetitive. So you have, it's, a phrase or two of music only. And so they're really easy to learn and remember and repeat. And so you sing them many times in a row, usually. And sometimes there's a solo voice on top that's got other words. So you've got this repeated pattern, an ostinato underneath that just keeps going, and it's really easy for a congregation to latch onto that. It's almost like a mantra. And
I was just going to say, it reminds me of transcendental meditation because, you have a mantra that may or may not even be associated with anything that makes any sense in your actual lexicon, but that repetitive nature, almost like a heartbeat, or I think of it as like the ocean waves, like continuing over and over again, brings people so much calm and peace, and it seems like it's something that is pantheistic, no matter what your kind of religious background is, or if you have none, there's something to it.
Well, and you're all singing together, and they do say that as people sing together, their heartbeats start to come together, and they beat at the same rate.
I love that. So this is open to everyone in the community. You are a Christian church, but you're an open and affirming Christian church. I'm imagining a lot. So, you have pride flags out in front on the website and all that. Tell us, in the times that you've done this in the past, has it been just congregation members, or are people from the greater community and maybe people from even a non-Christian background come to this, and how did they experience it?
So in the past, we've done them on a Sunday morning. That is mostly people from the congregation who come to that, so I can't answer. But we've never really advertised the way that we're promoting it this year.
And I think it's interesting because there is a need, as we were saying at the beginning, that there's a hopelessness and a darkness that I think is consuming many people, not everybody. But tell us, in South Church in Amherst, what are some of the things that you're hearing from your congregants about what they're concerned about, and how do you feel like this common candlelight may serve them?
We've had prayer requests for months now from people who were concerned about ICE raids. I think it's really frightening to people to think that folks in masks could come swoop down at any point. When there was a arrest at a farm, Pepin Farm on East Street in East Hampton, people were shaken by that. And there are other examples that people have brought to my attention from their work in school systems and in other places where they're aware of families that are being split apart in the valley by these random arrests. But what's happened in Minnesota has been riveting for people. Many have family members out there. Some know folks who've gone to be part of the demonstrations, and others have been locally involved in demonstrations here in Holyoke and in Amherst. I think it's an issue that is bubbling up in people's souls and psyches.
Not to mention the fact that a church nearby in Amherst was the site of a sanctuary, a man who during the first Trump administration lived in sanctuary in a church, Lucio Perez. And churches have historically been those places of sanctuary, both figuratively and literally. This common candlelight is more of a figurative sanctuary, but how is your church involved, or is your church involved in the more literal sanctuary movement?
We have a pretty active immigration support group, and we have supported people in transition for many years.
Mm-hmm. We said to you, Director of Music, Marilyn Brain, from South Church in Amherst, that we might call upon you to sing. I'm not going to make you do it, but maybe.
But you have already picked out a song, and you've been looking at it.
You brought your
this
music
whole
with
time.
you, yeah.
Shall I start with Latin?
Yes.
The Latin is always better.
Confitemini Domino, quoniam bonus. Confitemini Domino, Alleluia. Come and fill our hearts with your peace. You alone, O Lord, are holy. Come and fill our hearts with your peace. Alleluia.
Beautiful.
How does the Taizé practice differ from what you bring forth musically for, like, the choir or other musical elements of the general services at South Amherst?
There's a very set pattern to the services on Sunday morning. The choir always does an introit, a piece of music at the beginning, often, in fact, a Taizé piece as an introit, but it's just the choir, so it's not involving the whole congregation. And then the service goes on. So Taizé is much more, I hate to use that word rigid, but anyway, less formulaic, I suppose, because part of the idea with Taizé, when I've done it in the past, you just kind of get going, and I'm listening, and if the congregation's like really singing along, we'll keep going. And if it's not, well, then we'll come, I'll slow down a little bit, and that will be the end of that chant. So it's a little bit more kind of feeling your way. It's a little more improvisational, I would say, Taizé is, than what we generally do on a Sunday morning.
Which is interesting for a chant, that it would become improvisational in that way, but it does feel like there's a push and pull with the people leading it and the people part of it, and an important relationship in that.
And we lace in I may have a poem or a short piece of scripture that's often from the Psalms, something that a wide swath of people could relate to, in between the singing, as a way to modulate some of the offerings. And sometimes
the Taizé services?
Yeah.
And the silence as well.
And there's silence, so I usually have one of those bowls, a singing bowl, and use that to begin a time of meditation, which is 5 or 6 minutes in the middle of the service.
Well, if your soul is looking for some nourishment in these times, you have an opportunity. It is open to the public, no matter your faith background, on Wednesday, February 4th at 5:30, a candlelight service with chanting in the style of the monks from Taizé, France. It's called Calm and Candlelight, and we have been joined by the pastor of South Church in Amherst, where this will happen, the Reverend Dr. Susan Cartmel, as well as the director of music there, Marilyn Brain. Thanks so much for sharing this tradition with us here on the radio and with everyone in the surrounding community of Amherst this Wednesday.
Thank you.
We really appreciate your interest in this. Thanks.
More togetherness, but with less song and more slopes, as we talk with folks from Hampshire and Franklin County United Way about Ski United at Berkshire East this week.
But first, my dad and my son walk me into a Patriots farewell.
3 Belmontes, a hunt for a 7th ring for one team.
One ring to rule them all. You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
I mean, I guess San Francisco could kind of be Mordor.
Yeah.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Dean's Beans Organic Coffee, a locally based, worker-owned company committed to social and environmental responsibility, roasting fair trade, organic, shade-grown coffee since 1993. DeansBeans.com.
It's 6:26 in the morning on Sunday, February 1st. 12-year-old Pax Belmonte, where are we going?
Gillette.
The best a man can get.
Sure, yeah.
It's the slogan for the razor.
Oh.
Gillette's a razor.
Yeah, no, I got that.
And a stadium.
Yeah.
A stadium that they sometimes call the razor.
Really?
Yeah. Why are we going to Gillette when there is no football game there?
There's a send-off, a Super Bowl send-off rally for the Patriots.
It's 2 hours away. Where are we stopping first?
BP's house.
My old home in Norton, Massachusetts, 15 minutes from Foxborough Stadium to pick up New England Patriots correspondent, my dad. When I had a show on the river, I would call my dad every Monday after every Patriots game through thick and thin. So now the torch has been passed to New England Patriots correspondent, my son. All right, I guess we should hit the road.
Okay.
2026, we here. AFC champions, baby. Let's go. New England Patriots, AFC champions. The dynasty's back.
What is this garbage you put on in the car?
It's the AFC champions New England anthem.
It sounds like AI wrote it.
They probably did, yeah.
Drake May, and no, I didn't stutter. It's just Drake May. When it all go down.
Where do you find these ridiculous songs?
Spotify.
Spotify is problematic in and of itself. Here, let's put on something else.
I have been out west to California.
It is kind of cool that Dropkick Murphys are playing this thing, though.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to do their anti-ice song in front of all those crowds at Gillette.
I don't know their song. I don't know any of their songs.
You know Shipping Up to Boston.
I do?
What do you want to play?
Shipping Up to Boston by Dropkick Murphys. Now this is a real football song. Mel and Tim. Because you know, like backfield is your butt.
Didn't think of that before.
It's 8:30 when we've arrived in Norton. Good morning, New England Patriots correspondent, my dad.
Good morning.
I used to call my dad every Monday after the Patriots games on the radio, wicked early in the morning. And now here we are, kind of wicked early in the morning at your house. You got all your layers on?
I got all my layers on.
I got to pee. You're lucky, Dad, because Salman Hamid, my astronomer, who's your favorite guest, is in Pakistan, so he can't be on the show today. So you're on the show today.
Oh, lucky me.
We are 20 minutes from Foxborough Stadium. This is where I grew up. You are a lifelong Patriots fan, but you are older than the Patriots. So where did your love of the New England Patriots begin?
1960, when they first started.
Who did you root for before that? 'Cause you were 10 at that point.
Probably the Giants. Because when I lived in Rosendale, our neighbor next door knew Sam Huff. So I got to meet him one time.
And is that where your love of football began? Because you never played football, but you watch every football game for the NFL. You watch a lot of college football, and you've even been known to go back to my old high school to watch high school games.
I do. It's just something I like to do.
Where did the love begin?
I don't know.
You don't remember the first, this is Pax's first year of really loving football. Yes, it is.
I think my older brother, Fran, took me to see the Patriots at Fenway Park.
Because that's where they used to play.
That's where they used to play. And I've seen them play at Harvard Stadium, and I've seen them play at Boston College and Schaefer Stadium.
And then, when I was a kid, they played at Sullivan Stadium, which was in Foxborough, and they were so bad, and we were so close to the stadium that you couldn't watch the games on TV because they wouldn't sell out. So there was a blackout in a certain radius, and you'd have to listen to them on the radio.
That's true. And then when you were in the band in high school, we worked at the concession stand, volunteered, just so we could watch the games.
So here's the thing. Back before Robert Kraft bought the Patriots, all of the concessions at Sullivan Stadium were run by nonprofits, and it was a fundraiser for individual nonprofits. My high school band was one of those nonprofits, so not only did we go to see the Patriots dozens of times over those years, in a terrible era of the Patriots. They were no good. What era is that really? It's a little bit of the Bledsoe era and before. You know, the Zolak era.
Steve Grogan,
yeah.
You said Scott Zolak.
Yeah. Now he just yells on the radio all the time.
Yeah.
That's your quarterback! Unicorns
Show ponies! Where's the beef?
I love him.
Tony Eason.
Oh yeah, Tony Eason.
I remember Babe Pirelli, so.
I don't know who that is. I don't know. But we also got to go to a million concerts. So I saw Faith No More and Metallica and Guns N' Roses. Faith No More, who were on the show on Friday, and U2 and the Stones and Pink Floyd and all this stuff, all through fundraising for my high school band. That was pretty great.
And we also saw a World Soccer tournament.
Yeah, the World Cup. Italy versus Spain. That was the most insane audience I've ever been a part of in my entire life. And now here we go back to the corporately owned Kraft Gillette Stadium, the best a man can get. Do you get that reference?
I got it.
See, Pax didn't get it. Pax has only shaved once, though, so.
No, now I've shaved twice. I shaved last night.
Gillette, the best a man can get.
Pax is also wearing a hat that was ours when I was a kid because the Patriots were so accessible at that time that another way to raise money is there would be charity basketball games between the New England Patriots and your teachers. And then you'd go meet them all at the end. And the only two autographs I can make out on that hat are Andre Tippett, legendary Patriot, and Doug Flutie, I think, is on that one.
He is.
BP, do you think I should play football in high school?
Absolutely.
Maybe you should go to high school instead of be homeschool.
No, that's boring.
What position would you want to play?
Receiver.
I played football for 1 year in high school. I was captain. I was offensive guard, defensive tackle, and special teams.
And you didn't even know you changed ends after the quarter.
But I was good.
You were good. And you played one JV game.
Yep. And then I wasn't good when I was JV because all those guys were bigger, and I never got any bigger than that ever. So I basically just decided to stick with the band.
Which was fine with me because I still got to go to the games.
Also, I still have my jersey, purple and white, Belmonte, number 69. What do you think about the Patriots now? We've entered the new era, the Mike Vrabel, Drake May era.
Here we go again.
Are you surprised at how well they did this season?
Oh, absolutely. I was hoping they would be just above 500, and they certainly did that.
They're playing the Seattle Seahawks, which is another team that our family has a connection to because when I was a kid, your brother-in-law's brother played for the Seahawks, Joe Nash, number 72, nose tackle, I believe, right?
Yes. Yep. And he went to the Pro Bowl one year, so he was pretty good.
And then we, as like a big Belmonte family, one time took a bus to see the Patriots and
Belmonte Nash family.
That's right, the Belmonte Nash family to see the Patriots and the Seahawks play at the old Sullivan Stadium. What do you? Who did win that game? I don't remember.
I don't remember either. To be honest with you,
all I remember is my Uncle Jimmy making fun of me for talking about Boy George. It was one of those moments where it's like somebody publicly embarrasses you when you're a child and you never forget it. So I never forgot it. What do you think the chances are with the New England Patriots versus the current Seattle Seahawks?
It depends on Drake May and the defense. It's going to be a tough game. I didn't think they would get this far, so I'm happy either way.
But it would be better if they won.
But it would be better if they win.
Well, we made it. See, there's a cool drum line, and I was a cool drummer in the band when I played football. I did it both.
Yeah, but it's more fun to play.
Drums?
No, football.
Patriots fans, you brought it tonight. What an atmosphere here at Gillette Stadium. And this crew really does no introduction. Please welcome the Drop Murphy!
Robert Kraft, the only person who was excited about the Melania movie.
We love y'all. You know, 32 years ago, we bought the clock, and it was snowing the first day. And we were lined up on Route 1. I came down here, and we were buying season tickets. So thank you. How about Coach Mike Vrabel?
Coach Vrabel has entered the stage.
This is beyond my wildest dreams for the fans to have embraced us this first year of this program the way that you have. I said all along, if our players played up to the standard that you guys expected and the effort in which they would play and their style of football, you would come out. And come out you did, so thank you. And a big part of our success is our players, and especially our quarterback,
Drake May has taken the stage.
That's my man.
Hey guys, you got me great all season, man. We'll be here without you guys. What a journey. Shout out to these guys, other guys. So when we get back, we go back, baby. One more time. We all we got. We all we need.
Well, the Super Bowl send-off rally is over, and we're in my favorite part of going to big events, after-event traffic, sitting in the parking lot at Gillette. What did everybody think of the rally? Future New England Patriots correspondent, my son Pax.
It was fun.
What was your favorite part?
I liked when the players talked. So like the very end.
I liked when the lead singer of the Dropkick Murphys drop-kicked a football into the audience that he said was signed by Drake May, but wasn't. I also, I got a little emotional. A couple of the scenes that they showed of the games. They had all these clips from the games. I'm such a sap. I feel myself welling up. New England Patriots correspondent, my dad.
I can't feel my feet.
They call him Drake, Drake May, May. He's Drake, Drake May, May. He brought the city back. They call him Drake, Drake May.
I can't believe this is a real song.
This is.
It feels like it's AI. But if you don't know, Drake May's nickname is Drake May. So this song, calling him Drake, Drake May, May, is actually part of the strange culture of this year of New England Patriots football.
Why are we like this?
That alongside the Warriors chant, Warriors,
come out
to play. Somebody had a Warriors vest from the 1979 movie Warriors, an iconic scene that's been quoted in hip-hop. Kari and Jiri and I had a long conversation about the Warriors, and I still don't know why Mike Vrabel's obsessed with it, but maybe we'll get to the bottom of that before Super Bowl Sunday. I love that. I love that movie,
5 days.
and I love that chant.
Good luck.
Yes.
We'll stay with sports, but make them much colder with a more communal bent as we talk with folks from the United Way of Hampshire and Franklin counties about their upcoming Ski United event and much more.
I don't know if it'll be colder than standing out at Gillette Stadium, but we'll see. You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Northeast Solar in Hatfield, specializing in solar installations, battery storage, and clean energy solutions tailored to the homes and businesses of Western Massachusetts. Northeast-solar.com.
Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. What do you get when you take the love of skiing, add a cause that benefits thousands in the community, and then bring charitable individuals together for a day of fun and fundraising?
Ski United. Over the past 16 years, folks have come together on the slopes to support the efforts of the United Way of Hampshire and Franklin counties, raising over $250,000 in that time. The 16th annual Ski United event will be held this Thursday, February 5th, at Berkshire East in Charlemont. Here are some of the folks who've supported it from the beginning.
And with us to talk about this event and more are Executive Director Jeff Nonheim, founder of the event Steve Prothers, and committee member John Ebbets. Thank you so much for joining us.
Nice to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Let's start with you, Jeff. The United Way, a very popular and famous brand
Yes.
that I often feel like a lot of people have a hard time understanding. How does it work again, the United Way? We know it's charitable, but how does it get charitable?
And which one applies to wherever you are at the time?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of them, too.
There are a lot of us. It's kind of a federated model.
Is it United's Way or United Ways?
Yeah, it's United Way. And
just one.
Just one. And know we're a little bit like the kitchen sink of the nonprofit world. We wear a lot of hats. We run some programs. We do funding. We do convening work. And we also do crisis response work. The joke with United Ways is you've seen one United Way, you've seen one United Way. It's not a very good joke.
I like it.
No,
But we are focused on youth mental health and food security primarily. We work on the Governor's Anti-Hunger Task Force, which I know you were a part of,
Yes.
Monty.
Saw you at one of the listening sessions, or maybe a couple of them. Which one was it? The Springfield one,
just
right?
at Springfield.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Other ones were a little bit too far for me.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
I went to all of them.
Driving sometimes, virtual sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah. But in essence, we work to build stronger, healthier communities. And that's kind of the central alignment between all the United Ways.
And there is a central Mass United Way. There's a Springfield United Way.
Yep.
And then there's Hampshire and Franklin that used to be separate and then merged. How long ago was that?
That was in the summer of 2021, I believe.
Was that a COVID thing, or was it more like, did you look at the needs of those two communities and go, oh, this overlaps quite a bit. Maybe it's easier if we just join forces?
The second one. Well,
Okay.
I think it was a little bit of both. The discussions did happen during COVID, and I think the pandemic, made those conversations a little bit easier to have. Because, merging two community-based organizations, both were almost 100 years old at the time, it's kind of sensitive. So I think the pandemic opened up the ability to have conversations that might not have happened at other points.
Gotcha.
But I think we realized that, this would open up our capacity a bit to serve the community better. And a lot of nonprofit organizations serve across Hampshire and Franklin County. We kind of ignore that imaginary barrier on 91.
Yeah, we don't have a tofu curtain between Hampshire and Franklin County.
No,
we don't. But we do have a mountain, Berkshire East, and that is the home of Ski United, which will be held this Thursday, February 5th. The founder of the Ski United event is Steve Brothers. Steve, tell us what made you want to found a ski event to benefit the United Way.
In short, I wanted to emulate a golf tournament where people would pay an entry fee and they would get a whole day's activity to benefit our local community.
Are you a skier?
I am a skier. I'm an avid skier, and that's how that came about, by bringing like-minded people together to enjoy a day on the slopes and raise money for our community. And it took off. It started small, but it has really grown in the 16 years in existence, and is just an amazing event that is really looked forward to annually.
Has it always been at Berkshire East, or were there other places?
No, that's a good question.
That it
We
was?
started to take a bus, and we coach ride. You could only imagine how eventful that was 16 years ago. But when the pandemic hit, we had to pivot and go in a different direction. And
Is that a ski term?
No,
Pivot?
No, it was a Christie turn. But no,
okay.
We stayed local, and it benefited both the local economy and our mission to gather people together for this event. And I think today we're expecting 160 skiers.
Wow, that's amazing.
And a lot of we do a raffle and auction item online that also adds to the bottom line gift to the United Way, which is pretty special.
Well, when the event started, the United Way was Hampshire and United Way Franklin, and Berkshire East is in Franklin. And I know your business is at least Hampshire based. So did that provide the opportunity to the merger of the two organizations to say, hey, we got a mountain in one of these counties. Let's go use it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was a no-brainer. So that really benefited everybody in the community and made essentially it easier to organize and allow Berkshire to benefit as well. The slope really enjoys that input that day, and everybody has a great time, and it just feels right.
We're talking about Ski United, which will happen for the 16th time this Thursday, February 5th at Berkshire East. It is a benefit for the United Way of Hampshire and Franklin counties. We're speaking with the executive director of the United Way, Jeff Nonheim, as well as the founder of Ski United, Steve Brothers, and a committee member of Ski United, a longtime radio guy and a longtime United Way guy, John Ebbets. Tell us a little bit. We'll skip the radio part unless you really want to rhapsodize.
Who also, I should mention, is the only one in the studio wearing a Ski United vest.
Yeah, you can't. Well, there's a United Way vest here, and then a Ski United t-shirt underneath that, and then
it's okay. It's cold. We need those layers.
Oh, yeah. Is that a Ski United shirt too, Steve? Okay. Everybody's representing. But John Ebbets, tell us about your relationship with the United Way first.
Well, I was the executive director for the United Way. I want to say it was 2007 to 11 or 2008 to 12, somewhere in there. And back in the day, this guy Steve Prothers, I knew Steve, and we were talking one night at a chamber arrive at 5, and he came up and said, John, I think the United Way should do a ski trip and raise money. And so at that time, I said, Steve, that's a great idea. And as you know, in the world of nonprofit, Jeff knows this well, there are a lot of well-intentioned people that have great ideas of how they think you should run your business in order to benefit. The challenge, as you know, usually is one of staffing. And at the time I said to Steve, Steve, that's a great idea, but we just are not equipped. We were at the time 4.5 people. I said, we're just not equipped to do an event. It doesn't work. But I had recently read a development article in some magazine, and I said, but if you could put together the event and make the United Way the beneficiary, that would be great. And so that first year, Steve went off and nothing happened. And I was like, well, there's a great idea, but add that to the list of great ideas. And then next year, sometime in the next year, I see Steve and he's like, John, we should do this thing. And I said, Steve, once again, same story. We don't have the staffing for it. I said, look, I tell you what, if you put together a committee, I'll help and I'll sit in on the committee and we'll figure it out. And so that year is when Steve reached out to I remember a couple people from Florence Bank and whatnot. So there was like 6 or 8 of us, I think, that started off. And he pulled it together and we started having meetings. And at that time, we took a bus. We'd go up to Mount Snow. So we get on the bus early in the morning, have some coffee, go ski. We had a little box lunch that we would provide people, lift tickets, ski, and then the ride home, and then we would meet somewhere and have dinner, and we had a little bit of a raffle. And so it worked that first year, and I believe the check was $2,500 as a donation. So in the world of, at that time, the world of giving in the Valley, if you're a $1,000 donor, you're a lead donor. Pretty much every nonprofit that I'm familiar with.
You could join the Murrow Society for a similar amount here at NEPM.
There you go. Right? So there was 2.5 lead donors. It was like, wow, this is great, Perfect. Steve. So this is good, and we had a blast. I mean, the bus ride was a little epic, but we won't talk too much about that.
That and the ski lodge. I've been skiing 2 times, and it was the bus rides and the ski lodges that I had the most fun at. Skiing on the mountain, not so much. A lot of falling.
Après ski.
Après ski. That's what.
And so the event basically took off from there. $2,500, and the next year was $5,000, and it was just a bunch of, once again, that core was maybe it was 10 people at that time would reach out. It was sponsorship. We produced T-shirts. We all have, for those of us that have been around for the 16 years, we have 16 Ski United T-shirts. And all
you can
different
layer
colors.
up with them all, and you're nice and warm on the mountain.
That's right. It's a new look that really hasn't caught on. And the sponsors are listed on the back, and there's been some folks, and I'd be careful not to go into too many names, but they've been there forever. And every year there's some new folks that come on board, and the sponsorship really kind of carries the day, and then the auction is kind of the icing on the top. And so that $2,500, I believe our check last year, Jeff, correct me, but I believe it was $38,000.
Wow, that's a big leap. And it's
39 according to your
39.
website.
Yeah,
okay.
39. And it goes to show you the generosity of our area when you think of all these events that have become these big and iconic fundraising events that start with these small but very wonderful donations and grow to these magnificent heights. Speaking of heights, you'll be on a mountain on Thursday, February 5th for Ski United. We're talking with the folks from the United Way of Hampshire and Franklin County, Director Jeff Nonheim, as well as the founder of the event, Ski United, Steve Prothers, and committee member John Ebbets. Let's take a little break, and we'll talk more about the work that the United Way is doing in our area and about the ski event this Thursday.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
There's supposed to be a song about skiing.
And this is supposed to be a segment about skiing, and it is.
It is.
Ski United is what we're talking about here on the Fabulous 413. We're talking about Ski United with Ski United's founder, Steve Prothers, as well as the beneficiary of the Ski United event, the United Way of Hampshire and Franklin County, and their executive director, Jeff Nonheim, as well as committee member and former director of the United Way, John Ebbets.
I feel like events like this are really important to nonprofits in general, but Jeff, where does Ski United fit amongst United Way of Hampshire and Franklin County's plans for like funds for the year? Like, how does what they raise figure into your planning?
Quite a bit. I mean, I think our goal this year is to net about $45,000 from the event. We'll probably raise, from donations from community members. My best guess right now, and it's always kind of a guess at this point of the year, but about $1.2 million. So $45,000 is a big chunk of that. So it does matter a lot to our ability to provide services in the community.
What are some of the United Way of Hampshire Franklin County's priorities in 2026? What are the things that you're most excited about, working the hardest on right now?
Yeah, so our three priority areas are youth wellness and mental health, social isolation and promoting connectedness, and then what we've been really spending most of our time on this year, because what's going on at the federal level, is food security. The thing I'm most excited about that we've done this year was what we called the United Response Fund, which was a fund we launched between all 13 United Ways in the state of Massachusetts during the GAP and SNAP funding. If you remember, the government shut down in November, which already feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
And we collectively raised about $7 million. And we got all the United Ways working together, which is also a big deal. It came together really quickly, and I don't know, it seemed, we don't want to be raising money to address food security, right? Because we want to live in an area where people don't have to work 3 jobs and still be on SNAP. But it feels good, the community response we got from being able to launch that effort.
How do people access that money in our area once you raised it with all of the United Ways across the Commonwealth?
So in Hampshire County and Franklin County, we mostly distributed to food pantries to help them increase their capacity. We strongly encourage them to use the funds to buy food from local farms, because obviously local farms were affected by the cuts in SNAP funding. It's not just, SNAP affects the whole economy. And that was where the majority of our funds went. We tried to target pantries and big population centers, so thinking like Greenfield, Northampton, East Hampton, Amherst, and then underserved regions. So, the western part of Franklin County, Quabog Hills, the North Quabbin region, the hill towns. That's what we did with the funds we raised back in November.
Cool.
I do love that.
I do want to mention that about this Ski United event that if you are not of the skiing persuasion, which I am not, and Monty also is not, there is still stuff that you can do at this event. Can you talk about some of those things that are not necessarily skiing, but still would involve you going to Berkshire East and being in community?
Steve Brothers, founder of Ski United.
Oh, yeah, there's plenty to do up there. Nice day. You could watch the races, people tying themselves on the hill. They have outdoor fireplaces going on outside. It's just a nice community-minded day where people are just there supporting a local cause that feels good.
And if I could add, they could just come for dinner.
Yeah.
They could come for the après-ski portion. And Berkshire East last year blew our minds with the food that they provided that night. And so we're anticipating a similar serving this year. So someone could just kind of come up and join us.
Is it an all-day affair, or does it start at a certain time? Like, can kids skip school and go and support the United Way?
Yeah, pretty much an all-day affair. We take registrations anytime from 8 o'clock in the morning on. The lift's probably open around 9. And then we'll ski into the afternoon. And like we were saying, there's a lunch. You break for your lunch anytime you want. And then the dinner, it's like a banquet. So it's meant for an all-day hangout.
As a non-skier, John Ebbets, you are a skier. Tell me one thing that you love about skiing that might convince me to change my mind.
The end of the day when you take your ski boots off and the way your feet feel, that is an experience that if you don't live it, you'll never understand.
So when it's over is the best part of skiing? I already knew that. That did not sway me in any way, however.
But you know what else Berkshire East has? Tubing.
fun. They do.
Can you tube United?
Of course.
Well, now you have me.
Okay.
Because
There we
that
go.
is one of the only things I like to do in the cold.
Yep.
Sledding. Tubing, that kind of thing. So if that's part of it, I'm skipping work on Thursday to go and be part of this great event. Ski United, I would say.
Glad I know that now.
Yeah, me too. uw/fh.org is the website of the United Way of Hampshire Franklin County. But if you Google Ski United and Berkshire East, it'll take you to all the right places that you need to go. And it's not too late to get involved in this, right?
No.
That
The
is
auction
correct,
The auction is open online.
Oh, nice. There's an online auction, and the
Even
event
better.
is happening on Thursday at Berkshire East. The director of the United Way of Hampshire Franklin County, Jeff Nonheim, the event founder, Steve Prothers, and committee member John Ebbets. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks
You
for
guys are
having
great.
us.
Thank you.
And we'll link to all of that in the show notes for today. On the next Fabulous 413, we'll taste local flavors with our neighbors at Something Special Cafe.
And we'll check in with the executive director of Jacob's Pillow in Beckett about their spring season that's coming up.
Oh, hey.
We leave you with some Taizé France chant music that you can experience at South Church in Amherst this Thursday. I'm Monty Belmonte.
I'm Khalil Smith. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Fabulous 413.
I mean Wednesday. Skiing is Thursday.
Ski on Thursday.
The Fed has recently taken over the headlines as the president publicly attacks its chair. But how did we get here?
Politics in general has become more and more of sort of a spectacle and even a zone of entertainment for many.
I'm Kimberly Adams. A look into the history of the Fed next time on Marketplace.